August 6th, 1945, 8:15 a.m. Hiroshima was not a battlefield. It was a city starting its day. Trams moved through the streets. Shop owners opened doors. Children walked to school. There were no sirens, no air raid alarms, no warning of any kind. The war felt distant here. At exactly 8:15, the sky changed. A single flash appeared above the city. White, absolute, unnatural. It was brighter than the sun, brighter than anything the human eye had ever seen. People did not hear an explosion. Sound came later. First came light. In less than 1 second, temperatures near the center reached over 4,000 degrees Celsius. Concrete cracked. Steel bent. Human skin ignited. Some people were vaporized instantly. Not burned. Not crushed. Gone.
Their shadows remained, burned into walls, bridges, and stone steps. Dark silhouettes where people had been standing moments earlier. Eyes were blinded instantly. Clothes vanished. Hair caught fire. Then came the blast wave. A wall of pressure moved outward at hundreds of meters per second. Buildings collapsed like cardboard. Glass shattered into thousands of razor-sharp fragments. People were thrown across streets, crushed under falling debris, buried alive without ever understanding what had happened. Within minutes, the city was burning. Not one fire, thousands.
Wooden houses ignited simultaneously. Paper walls turned to ash. Oil, fabric, and flesh burned together. The heat pulled air inward. Winds formed, rushing toward the flames. A firestorm was born. Inside the firestorm, temperatures continued to rise. Air was pulled violently toward the center. People collapsed not from burns, but from suffocation. Those who hid in basements were trapped. Oxygen vanished. The heat followed. Entire neighborhoods disappeared without flames ever touching them.
Wood turned to charcoal. Metal softened. Stone cracked. The city was being erased, layer by layer. People who had survived the blast tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. Rivers filled with bodies. People jumped into water to escape the heat, only to drown or boil alive. Others began walking silently, arms extended forward, skin hanging from their hands and faces like torn cloth. They did not scream. They did not cry. They were in shock. They did not know they were already dying. Some survivors believed they were safe. They had no burns, no visible wounds. They helped others. They searched for family. Within days, they began to weaken. Purple spots appeared on their skin. Hair fell out in clumps. Internal bleeding started without injury. They did not understand what was happening. No one did. Hospitals no longer existed.
90% of Hiroshima's doctors were dead or injured. Nurses lay buried under rubble. Medical supplies burned in storage rooms that no longer stood. The wounded treated the wounded. Children searched for parents who no longer had faces. Some begged for water. Giving it often killed them faster. Hours later, something strange began to fall from the sky. Black rain, thick drops filled with ash, soot, and radioactive particles. It stained clothes. It burned skin.
People drank it. They had no reason not to. They did not know radiation existed. They did not know the bomb would keep killing long after the explosion ended. By nightfall, Hiroshima was no longer a city. It was a field of fire and smoke. More than 70,000 people were dead in a single day.
But the killing was not over. In the weeks that followed, survivors began to fall sick. Hair fell out. Gums bled. Fevers came without explanation. People who had no visible injuries collapsed and died. Doctors didn't understand why wounds would not heal, why patients deteriorated instead of recovering. Radiation sickness had no name yet, no treatment, no cure. The world studied Hiroshima carefully. Scientists measured the damage. Military leaders analyzed the results. They calculated blast radius, thermal effects, casualty numbers. Hiroshima became data, a model, a reference point for weapons that would soon become far more powerful. The bomb that destroyed Hiroshima would later be considered small. By the end of 1945, over 140,000 people were dead. Many didn't die that day. They died slowly. Years later, children were born with deformities. Cancer rates spiked. Entire families disappeared over time. Hiroshima was not an accident. It was a decision made to end a war faster, a decision justified as necessary, a decision that introduced a new truth to the world. From that moment on, humanity had the power to erase itself, not in years, not in months, in minutes. Hiroshima was the first time a city vanished in a single flash. It would not be the last time such a weapon existed. The question is not whether nuclear weapons will ever be used again. The question is whether the next decision will come with doubt, whether someone, somewhere, will hesitate. Because once the light appears, there is no second chance. This was Hiroshima. Minute by minute,